would think yes, because until now Kosovo has been the darling, especially of the United States, but de facto also of the EU, not all EU countries, but still, but especially the United States and also Germany and Britain. But it seems to be that now there is a change, and we can of course go into this change, but it is of course dramatic, very dramatic, and of course something has to be done as soon as possible to reverse this trend.
In your voice, I hear that you do think it's dramatic, but somehow you're not surprised. Are you surprised? Am I wrong? Are you surprised we've come to where we are today?
Yes, I am actually surprised, because I think what has happened since, let's say, the crisis started with the license plates issue, and later, especially after the Ohrid agreement, the main culprit of all the problem is Vuçiqi. Vuçiqi has broken immediately after the Ohrid agreement. Immediately he said, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this. And nobody actually didn't say anything, which was, of course, to me extremely odd, because to me the Ohrid agreement, as you know, based on the inter-German the DDR and Bundesrepublik Deutschland agreement in the 70s, it was, according to me, a very, very good compromise with a win-win situation for both sides. But immediately Vučić said no, which of course, undermined the whole idea. And at that time, I think the EU should have spoken out very clearly that this is totally unacceptable, but I never heard anything.
It's quite reassuring, let's say comforting, and let's say a catharsis to hear one international say, a former diplomat, not just an analyst, see it from the Kosovo point of view, in a sense that the moment that Vučić said he's not going to sign it, everybody was very tolerant and understanding. Before we go on, can you explain to Kosovo audiences, how did the international community come to be so understanding about Serbia's refusal to go to talks, and then say, even if I agree to something, I will never sign anything, and all of you will be down begging for me just to be present?
No, but it's, with due respect, it's even worse. He said the main things are, of course, of this agreement, the main thing is that you de facto recognize each other, not de jure. You will have a real embassy. You will allow, in this case, Kosovo to become member of the United Nations. All these things happened at the time with the DDR. I mean, the Bundesrepublik allowed them. And that, so it's not only that he didn't sign it, he said immediately he will not do it, which is the main point of the whole agreement. So from that point of view, I cannot explain to your public why there is no reaction, unless, which of course is that people are afraid that Vučić, he might be, not to be trusted, but the opposition, the alternative, is even worse. That might be the reason why they are so lenient towards him, because they know, or they think, that the opposition would even be worse. Because
before we go and analyze this, what you just said, it's interesting that while you haven't been here, the main debate in Kosovo about that agreement has been for this audience to be critical to Kurti over that agreement, like that he made compromises he claimed to his voters he will never make, that he allowed the church to become a reissue, he allowed association to be implemented. Now, I just want to bring you back to what you just said and stop in a moment and just reconfirm if I heard correctly. You think that the Ohrid agreement was very positive, very positive for Kosovo. You don't see a trap in that agreement.
No, I don't think so. Of course, you can see it is not a de facto recognition. It's a de facto recognition, not a de jure recognition, and that is what you really want. But still, this is the first step. You have to be, in the diplomatic life, sometimes you cannot get everything. Sometimes you have to take what you can get. The same with this association, it was of course there, but still, what kind of association? You know, the management group came then with a suggestion, which was of course written by it was de facto as if I mean that version was as if Kosovo was still part of Serbia, so it was of course totally outrageous. But that's why I'm also very happy with the attitude of the German and the French ambassador to say, listen, if this association comes, it should not be against the constitution of Kosovo. So meaning in line with the verdict of the Constitutional Court.